Hey everyone, welcome back. Let's explore fascinating science and health topics. Today, we're diving into a topic that has concerned scientists and everyday people alike for years: radiation. We'll explore how it affects both the human body and our environment. So let's get into it. What is radiation? Radiation is energy that travels through space in the form of waves or particles. There are two main types of radiation: non-ionizing and ionizing. Non-ionizing radiation includes things like radio waves, microwaves, and visible light, which generally aren't harmful. Ionizing radiation, however, is much more dangerous. This includes X-rays, gamma rays, and particles from nuclear reactions. It has enough energy to ionize atoms, which means it can damage the cells in our bodies. How does radiation affect the human body? Let's start with how ionizing radiation affects the human body. When we're exposed to this kind of radiation, it can damage the DNA inside our cells. Small doses might not do much harm immediately, but large or repeated exposure can lead to serious health problems. Key effects include radiation sickness. This can happen after high doses of radiation. Symptoms can range from nausea and vomiting to burns, hair loss, and organ failure. Cancer. Long-term exposure to ionizing radiation increases the risk of cancer, particularly leukemia and cancers of the thyroid, lungs, and skin. Genetic mutations. Radiation can also damage reproductive cells, which may cause genetic mutations that can be passed on to future generations. You might be familiar with the tragic events of Chernobyl, where a nuclear disaster exposed thousands to high levels of radiation. Even decades later, the survivors and their descendants face increased health risks. Radiation and the environment. Radiation doesn't just impact humans, it also affects the environment. Large-scale radiation leaks, like the ones from nuclear accidents, can have lasting effects on ecosystems. Here's how. Contaminated soil and water. Radiation can settle into the soil and water, which then gets absorbed by plants and animals, entering the food chain. Impact on wildlife. Animals exposed to high levels of radiation can experience mutations, decreased fertility, and shorter lifespans. Ecological disruption. In places like Chernobyl, certain species have adapted to radiation exposure, but others have disappeared completely, creating an imbalanced ecosystem. How can we protect ourselves? Limit medical radiation. Always ask if X-rays or CT scans are absolutely necessary. Radiation shielding. Workers in high radiation areas wear protective gear, and buildings in these environments often have shielding like lead walls. Preparedness for nuclear accidents. Governments have protocols in place to limit exposure in case of nuclear accidents, but individuals can keep emergency supplies like iodine tablets, which help protect the thyroid gland. Radiation can be a double-edged sword. It's an essential part of medical imaging and treatments, but it can also be dangerous if we're overexposed. As technology advances, we'll need to continue balancing the benefits with the risks to both humans and the environment. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to stay updated on more science-related content. Let me know in the comments. Did you learn something new about radiation today?